So I work so hard, y'all, but I cannot figure out where in the world, like, I just don't know where the whole thing is going. Like, hmm? It's like I am working my butt off, but it's like, where is it? Is it disappearing in the air? Let's discuss this matter. Let's settle this matter today. Hello. How are you doing today? Hello, my people. It's another Monday. Another Monday that I always come on live here on this platform, trying to help us elevate together to that next best version of ourselves. On this page, Elevate with Silvaline, or maybe you'll be watching this on my YouTube channel, same name, Elevate with Silvaline. I welcome you on board. It's another Monday, every Monday, same time, 8 p.m. Central Time, US Central Time. I come on live to chat with us, to have a little chit chat. Alrighty. Oh, today I'm getting a little bit fancy. Okay, I think I'm good to go here. So how are you all doing today? Hope your Monday, your week is off to a fabulous start. Mine is too, to the glory of God. So, do I have anybody watching this who has ever, you've ever heard or you've made this statement yourself? You'd be like, man, like I am really hustling, like, but it's like it's entering and it's just going somewhere. It's entering and it disappears, at the other end, and I'm just like in the same hamster wheel of, of getting it in, and it disappears, like in that sort of circle, not so good circle like that. If you have experienced that, somebody, you've heard somebody say that, I'd like you to just drop it here so we know if this is a matter that we should even be settling in the first place, if it's a common matter. But I think I have heard it a whole lot of times, okay? I have said it myself in the past, like to myself, pondering about that myself, be like, what? Like, what's going on? Like, what in the world is going on? Like, where is it? I'm working so hard, but I can't see it. Where is it going? Right? So, if you've heard this, I like to know. Drop it below so I know you resonate with this. You've heard this before. You've said it to yourself. Like, you've wondered about it yourself. You heard somebody say that. All right. I appreciate that. So today we want to settle that matter. Okay, this matter, we want to settle it. And in settling it, it means I'm going to be talking a little bit today, just sharing with us a little bit about our personal finance. Okay, this is all about, personal finance. And if we're meeting for the first time, my name is Silvaline. Welcome on board. This is a place to stay if you love all and everything personal development, okay? That holistic personal growth. I'm talking about your mind, body, spirit, finances, that whole holistic growth. When it comes to personal development, this is a place to be. We're growing together, we're elevating together. And again, like I said, I always come on live every Monday. So today is another Monday, and we're going to be talking a little bit here about personal finance. So, you are. For me, for the first time, my name is Silvaline. Okay, I am based here in Madison, Wisconsin, United States. I am from Cameroon originally, but I've been living here based in the US for the past 12 plus years. So, Just to give you some background, if you're wondering where I'm from, or maybe you're also a Cameroonian, hello, or wherever you're at, hello, or wherever you're from, I'm glad you're watching this. I'm glad you're excited about your personal growth, because no matter where we are at, okay, there's always room for growth. There's always that next and better version of ourselves if we would just keep growing to it. Okay, if we would keep going into it. And I'm talking about a little bit about personal finance today. And if you're wondering, like, how do I like come up with this topic, or why should you listen to me? Okay, I'm an accountant by profession, all right, with a lot of background in finance. Okay, started off actually a degree in finance, then in accounting when I studied here in US. My accounting degree is from here. My finance degree is from back home in Cameroon. And have worked here in the corporate a few years, and but now I'm focused on building my business. So I'm an entrepreneur, a wife. I like to say I'm a happy wife. I'm a mom of 3. Okay. Yeah, just a little bit of that background, just so for a minute, for the first time you get a little background there, a little bit of who I am. So I like to share. I like to hold each other's hands up. Not that I know so much of anything, but I believe that if you are even one step of somebody, there's always, let me just put it this way, there's always somebody who is one step behind you. And if you believe you're at least one step of somebody behind you, you can help that person with that, at least with that little knowledge of the one step ahead that you know. Like, you never know who you could help with that information. So that's my belief system. So I like to share a lot of things based, from my experience. Okay, my experience, my whole background, and just personal experience. Especially living in the USA over the past 12 plus years. So thank you for joining. I see some people hopping on. Thank you. Hello. So talking a little bit about, we're having a play date down there. I already said I'm a mom of 3, so pardon me if you hear that noise behind my, in my background there. You hear that sometimes. Sometimes are better than others. So talking about personal finance there a little bit, okay. And I made that statement. I'm talking about it because I hear this statement a lot, and I've said this to myself in the past before, and hear so many people, especially when it comes to our community, like our African community, especially those of us in the diaspora. A lot of us, the problem is not that we're not making, that we're not earning. Okay, I like to tell people a lot lately that, when it comes to your personal finance, it's not most often than not, it's not about how much you make. It's really about how well you manage what you make. All right? That is where the problem is. That's where the bone of contention usually is. It's in how well are you managing what you're making. It can make a whole lot of difference. There are a lot of people out there that, that you would think that, gosh, like, they're making this whole lot of money, but they're still like hand to mouth. They're still struggling. They're still like in that hamster struggle. That they're still in that struggle bus with some of us, or some people, with some other people. Like, you would not think that they should be in that struggle bus, but they unfortunately are. And it boils down to that, the question, or that concept. I'm like, it's about how well are you managing what you're making. And I'm just here to share a little bit of some things that can help you manage that well, so that you can, like I said, from my experience, these are things I do myself. So I can speak from experience. There are things I have learned, from my background, like I've already said earlier, and I practice it, and it works for me. Okay, and I believe it's not no personal financial advice here at all, but it's just my suggestions based from my own experiences. Okay, so for number one thing, I'm gonna share at least 3 major things here. Okay, let me just say 4. If you watch this till the end, you're gonna get the fourth. You're gonna get the fourth one. The fourth one that is gonna be a bonus. Like, I'm gonna share 3 major things here when it comes to our personal finance, or personal financial management. All right. Number one thing that if you only take one thing out of all what you watch me, say here, I think you should hang on to this one. Like if you're gonna forget the rest, are even they're important as well. But this number one is budgeting, and I'm sure you've heard this before. But a lot of times, it's not just enough us hearing all this information. It's like, okay, are we actually doing it? When it comes to putting it into action, are we acting upon this information we hear? Okay, so that's why I want to echo this more today, or at least to those who are hearing it maybe for the first time. But if you've not heard this before, I want to just throw some, remind you, or throw some more emphasis on the importance, the crucial importance of it. All right, budgeting, because that's what it comes down to. When you hear that statement, that that whining, be like, oh, like I'm like working my ass off, but I have no idea where in the world it's going to. Like I can see where the heck is going to. It's because you need to start budgeting, and I'm gonna break that down a little bit. And when you hear budgeting, some people get intimidated by that word, or some people feel maybe, budgeting is like, maybe it's just something for people who are well off. No, instead, if you are not, then you need that even the more. And it's actually, contrary to some perception, budgeting actually gives you the liberty to spend your earnings. Okay, it gives you the freedom to spend your money, your money, because you actually, like, you spend it with a lot of control. You have control over what you're doing, and that is freedom right there. Like if you're doing it with a lot of control, you know exactly what is coming in, and you know where you are very intentional where you want it to go, and you start putting it towards the different buckets that you have already prepared, allocated, that you want these different little buckets of sub buckets of this your earnings to go to, and they are going there. Then you have total control. Like you can say you just put a particular sum, or say, okay, in my budget, $100 or so, for example, is gonna be it's just gonna be my personal allowance. Guess what? When you take that 100, you feel free to go use it for whatever need you want to use it for, because you allocated for that, and so you're using it with so much freedom. Like you're really making your choices very strategically, very intentional. Okay, so I'm gonna just try to illustrate, just to break it down, at least for the people who maybe have never really known how this works. When you hear budgeting, it just means that I'm gonna give some really simple example here to just make things really simple and clear, hopefully. So say let's just do monthly, okay? Say your monthly income is $1,000. I'm just using because I'm in the US. It's $1,000, and so that's your income. So you're gonna compare all what is coming in versus all what is going out in terms of your bills, all those not so good things that we don't like to spend money on, right? And you're gonna say, okay, I have these $1,000 coming in, and say my rent, I'm just keeping this really simple. It might not even be very realistic, but maybe in some cases, say my rent is $500. Just keeping it really simple here. Okay, I had 1,000 coming in. You can. There are so many ways you can do this. If you want to go the old school way and have your little journal where you journal it out, but I'll tell you that a lot easier way to break down your budget. There are apps out there that I'll drop one in the comment section by the end of this, or right after this. I'm not affiliated to it anyway, but it's a really good one I have used for a long time. I've been using for a long time, and it's a pretty popular one too. But there are so many. If you just look it up, like budgeting apps, if you're more of a techie, let me say more of let me say a 21st century person, that you like it on your mobile like myself. Then you can look up, budgeting apps. Just go to your Play Store and just like look them up there. So apps for budgeting, you're gonna see quite a few. So, but again, I'll drop like the one I've used in the comment section by the end of this. So that's for the, let me just say, new school people. But for my old school people that you want to just do, write it down, journal it or something, you just put it down, like make a table and say, okay, this is my earnings. It could be more like, again, I'm keeping this really simple here. Say, okay, this person just has one source of income and just have this 1,000 coming in. You could have like so many sources. Whatever the case, you put all those earnings in one bucket. Say, okay, this whole table. I make it like 2 lines. The whole of this side is for my income, everything that is coming in, my earnings, and let's just say all of that total 1K. Okay, that's $1,000. And now my rent, you start minusing. On the other side, your rent comes out 500. Your utility, I'm just gonna put that whole of that, everything, utility bills. Let me just say 200 for your utility bills. Let's say what else? Your grocery, that's your feeding. Gosh, we gotta eat, right? That's the number one. All your basic necessities. First, you start there. So, your groceries, everything, your food in the house, and all of that good stuff. Say it's another. Just keep it simple. It's another $200. Okay. So, now we earned 1,000, then 500 went out for our, I know we don't like that rent payment or our mortgage payment, right? Because it always takes a big chunk of it. So 500 went out for that. You check that out for the rent or mortgage, if that's your case. 200 went for utility bills, another 200 went for your feeding, right? Your groceries. And guess what? If we check everything total on the right side here, we are down to 900, and we started off with 1,000 that came in, minus 900, it means we are down to 100. So this $100 left here, this is what we have left after we've taken care of all our bills, everything bill, right? We've paid all the vendors that we don't like to pay, but we have to, right? So now what do you do with this change? So you get to decide. You get to decide here. I would advise that, from there, you always try to always get a portion that pays you. Okay, there's a concept called pay yourself first in personal finance. It's another whole thing that we can really discuss. Actually, I'll talk a little bit more. Maybe we'll just kind of be a good segue to that. So, let's say you wanna, even in that budgeting, you're paying yourself first. Like we could actually say we took out 50 first out, because it's very important I was just trying to keep that really simple, not thinking about that concept at the time, but really, you should be paying yourself first as you're breaking down your budget. Okay, have a bucket that is for your payment, because you earned the money. Okay, if you read a book like what's that book I just read? I've read like 4 books, at least 4 books, just in this year so far. No, it's not Atomic Habits. I can just look at it is it Atomic Habits? Atomic Habits. I'm guessing that is the book. No. Is it Atomic Habits? I'm a little. So I've read Think and Grow Rich. I've read How to Influence and Influence. Is it Atomic Habits? There's a book. There are so many financial books out there, but This concept is really hammered in a book that I don't want to. I think it's Atomic Habits, but I'll drop it in the comment section just if you're curious to read that book. It's a powerful book, but it really hammers this concept of paying yourself first. It's that important if you want to grow financially. Okay, you gotta learn to, because you work so hard, you worked so hard for that. You should be the first person that is being paid. Okay, before you remember all your vendors. By that I mean all the people you owe this payment, going to this, to that, to this bill, to that bill, to those people are all your vendors. Okay, but you can always allocate a portion. Be like, okay, this is my earnings. You can take control. This is my earnings. I work hard for this. I always have to, like, when I get that check comes in, I know that 50 bucks or that 100, whatever, everybody's situation is different. You say that is my portion. That goes, that is your payment. It goes to you. You put that somewhere. So, okay, so I've included 50 here. So we are down to a total expenses of $950. Okay, and now we just have these 50 bucks left to do whatever we can do with it. So we're breaking down budgeting. So out of this 50, you decide whether you want to, maybe say you want to invest in just 50% of this or 30%. Say, okay, you want to just invest $20 from there or $30, and also you want to invest the whole $50. It's up to you, and I encourage you to do it, to start doing that. Like, start sooner than later. Okay, like when you're looking to, if you have a plan for your financial freedom, sooner than later, you want to start investing as early as possible. When it comes to the returns that you get from an investment, time is the number one factor that determines how good of an investment the return is. I hope I made that I was clear with that. Time, okay? Because there's something called compounding interest. It's that power of compounding is mind-blowing. The longer the term of an investment, the higher you're gonna get passive returns from it. So that's why the earlier you start putting money somewhere towards any form of investment that you like, the earlier you start doing it, the more you're gonna get. Like, it's so huge of a difference how much a 10-year investment is gonna make versus a 7-year investment. You'll be surprised. Like, just that 3 years difference, that time factor can make it makes a big difference because of that power of compounding. But let's not keep that too complicated today, because it gets to a point where the interest is bearing another interest for you. Like the baby, let's say the baby ones are giving birth to more babies and the babies are giving birth to more babies. Okay, let me just keep it that simple and really simple, and hopefully that comes across clear. So yeah, that is the importance of leveraging time, because the sooner you start, it gets to a point, like I said, where it's not the initial 50. Let's say it was the 50 you put in. It gets to a point where it's not that initial 50 that you put in that is even generating the let's say the interest or the returns for you. It's the returns generating another return. So you're basically just sitting and just have some free. Okay, that's what they call passive earnings or passive income, like free money just generating, working for you. When you hear some people say, oh, they all this investment, like money is just working for them while they're sleeping, those are the kind of things. So we were breaking down budgeting, the importance of budgeting as we are, trying to elevate our personal finances. I was just breaking down how important budgeting is, and we went down that example. So that's basically what budgeting is. It's you really just having control, taking control of your finances. deciding what bucket do you want it to go. You know, how much you want to go here, how much you want to go here, how much you want to go here. And I'm gonna so we're there with budgeting number 2. Because it's one thing to just, okay, sit down and draft all of this out. The number 2, which, you know, should really be like part of number 1, but I want to separate it because I want to lay emphasis on it. Okay? The number 2 point that I'm going to, you know, want you to take home is to stay within that budget. Alrighty? Because you and I know how, you know, how fun, like how much we like to go, we like to go shopping, right? I like it too, but I like to do it very intentionally. And that's what I'm encouraging here, right? You want to stay within that, all of the allocation, all that breakdown, the breakdown you made, the allocations you made for yourself for that budget. You want to stay within that. What do I mean by that? I mean, like, after you've, you know, drawn this budget for yourself, you don't want to just wake up now, okay, somebody calls you, I am in the hospital, oh, this has happened, yam done, yam not done. This, as we say in Cameroon, yam done, yam not done. You be like, all that blah, blah, this has happened, gone up and come down. And they start asking you, no, you know, there are some things that, of course, emergencies happen, right? So normally, under normal circumstances, when you're breaking down that budget, you got to keep some portion for emergencies. Allocate some portion for emergencies. Now, but there are these sort of emergencies that are really not this type that I'm talking about. They are emergency in the way they are they are putting across a message to you when you receive that call. Like for those of us who live abroad here, and you receive that call from back home, and they'll be like, they always have a story to tell you what has just happened. Okay, they have all the reasons why they need that money from you. I'm telling you, we gotta learn to stay within what we've planned for ourselves and be okay saying no. You should be okay saying no when you know you have a plan for your money. You have some things you need to get done. Okay, you have some, you have a plan, you have a budget, you want to stay within that budget. It should be okay for you. Feel okay saying no when nothing is on your neck. You didn't kill nobody, that is not really your problem. All those wahala, they call you and they have, because every time they call you and every time, you just give, and so they have more reasons. They always have more reasons to keep calling you because they know when they call, okay, somehow you always find a way to satisfy. And this is not discouraging. I'm not discouraging in any way, discouraging you from helping your family. I do that a lot, okay? But I am telling you, there is a point at which you gotta get smart at not letting people take advantage of you. That is the point I'm talking about, okay? Because when they know that they can easily, then they just keep using you. So you don't want that. You want to be smart, be very intentional with your money, because you have a plan, right? Because you have a budget. You want to work and stay within it. Okay, say no to yourself. When you're having those urge emotionally to just go for, how many of you just sometimes just shop emotionally, have that emotional shopping habit? Like, you just sitting like, wow, that's so cool. Oh my gosh, it looks so cute. I'm just going to get it. And you, like, without any plan, you just walk by and say, oh my gosh, that's so cute. Like, ooh, that dress, that, oh, that shoe, oh my God, that bag, gosh, I'm getting it. Those emotional, you had no plan for it, and maybe you're getting it like that. You have a whole lot of them at home. You haven't even worn. Okay, I am guilty of that sometimes. Okay, like you have this whole wardrobe of clothes. I've never even worn some, but you're seeing other things, and that emotional purchases start coming in. So, and if you're watching this, that sounds like if this is, I'm sure I'm not the only one who have who happen to have fallen into this temptation. Let me know down below. So I'm just checking. I'm looking at my other device here to make sure if somebody is saying something. I want to make sure I don't ignore anybody. Yeah, I'm just checking the comments because I like to know what how you're feeling about this. So yeah, I was talking about staying within that budget. You got to stick with it, stick with the plan you've made for yourself. Because if you start going every time you draw this thing, but you never stay at it, you never stick with it, you're never really gonna achieve what you wanted to achieve. So, and the third thing here that I'm gonna want you to take home is what I already kind of alluded to earlier, is that concept of paying yourself first. So I'm not going to say much about that because I already talked about it. You got to pay yourself first. If you just receive those earnings and you just go ahead and start, paying everything, my rent, my car, my groceries, my days, you pay all of that, my insurance, my all of that. Okay, you know what? You're giving that to everybody else and you don't have nothing. Before you know, you're going to give it out to all those people, pay all those things, and you're left with nothing. I mean, like, absolutely nothing. What do I have sticking out here? Okay. Yeah, so you got to be very intentional about that, paying yourself first. And the last thing here, which I also kind of talked a little bit on, it's just that idea of you being okay with saying no. I have somebody at my door, but they'll have to wait a little bit. Let me just round this up. Be okay with saying no to yourself. Like, when you're having those urges to do those things out of your budget, you gotta be disciplined enough to say no. Like, okay, no, this is out of my budget. Like, even today I had to do that. I was at the store and be see all this thing, I'd be like, oh no, that's gonna be way above. That's what, when you hear people say live within your means, okay, that's what they're talking about. Stay within that budget that you can afford. All those things that stay within what you have. Because if you start going above and beyond it, you always find yourself in the deficit, all the time in the deficit. And I'm telling you, this is how some people really end up in this struggle bus sort of, as I was talking about, because they're always in that deficit. So you're playing catch up all the time, playing catch up. Like, every time it comes in, you're still trying to catch up with the with the obligations of last month. That's a really bad place to be, like a tough place to be. And that's how, before you know it, somebody is so stressed because they are playing that catch up game, always feeling like they are behind, always feeling like you're behind. Not good. And it can take just a little bit of intentionality and discipline to get yourself out of that. All right? So learn to say no to yourself, even when you're having those, thoughts of doing things outside of your plan, outside of that budget. Saying no to others when they're trying to, be asking you things that they really don't need to be bugging you with. Be okay saying no. Okay, you help when you can, but when it's gonna make you go so out of your way, be okay with saying no. I can't afford that at this moment. Okay, have and a really quick bonus here. If you're really thinking about your working towards being financially free, you gotta have a plan. Say to yourself, like, because that doesn't happen overnight. When you hear people talk about financial freedom, this and that, it's not something that just happens. You work, like, you have a plan and work towards it. You can say, okay, now what's my plan for the next 5 years? Like, I can ask you right now, and I'm asking myself that question as well. Where do you want to see yourself in the next 5 years? If you see that your current actions that where you've come from so far have not been so good to bring you where you are at, you don't want to repeat exactly those same actions the next 5 years down the road. You want to have a different strategy. Okay, you want to just wake yourself up and be like, oh, I gotta do things a little differently if I want to see myself here in the next, like, in a different place, in a much better place, much more stable place in the next 5 years. All right, start taking charge of your earnings. It's yours. Take charge of it. God bless you. Thank you for listening, for watching this. Help me spread the word. Let's be a blessing to more and more people. Until next time,